Harry, thank you so much for joining me in the podcast for round 2.
Hell yeah.
Can you please introduce yourself?
Harry Phokou, part of Hivemind. So Hivemind is a company I started in 2024, and we're basically the number one go-to-market marketing company for people in the games industry. So these are people selling to people in the games industry.
We were at an event of yours last night because you're in London over from Cyprus. How did the event go?
The event went really well. So for people at home, I've done around 14 mixes. This was the first one I've done under the Hivemind brand. So to bring people quickly up to speed, this is a marketing agency. So we do done-for-you marketing for founders, and we do their personal branding. But every time I went to a conference to get business, I would see, Thursday, no one's doing anything. So I used to go and call a restaurant like, hey, can I bring 100 people here on a non-busy Thursday? I said, sure. And then I used to bring people together, and I can be the host. That kept on becoming a habit. Might as well do standalone, and then I kept on doing that. And it kind of culminated into the one yesterday where it was kind of the first one under the new brand. We fed everyone. Everyone had a welcome ticket. We had 3 sponsors. It's a profitable event. I've got around 400 people who, in my WhatsApp group, everyone's texting saying have a good time.
One thing I've always really liked, because from even the early days, actually, it's not even a recent thing, you've been about bringing people together, going to networking events, and then building out your own. I've obviously touched on people are craving real life in-person experiences, but why do you think they matter so much for the industry, but also for business? Because a lot of events now are nicey nice. People get together and make a friend, like peers, but I heard you in the microphone last night, you're very focused about making sure people are having valuable conversations. So I'd love to hear your ideas and philosophy on that.
Really passionate about this. So you made a comment and it made me really think. This was about a year and a half ago, and I think it was our first e-coffee. And you said, Harry, you're the only one in the LinkedIn space that I think is real. And you mentioned that because you saw so many where when I'm talking about what I'm doing, I have in real life photos where I'm going to a conference, I've met a studio in person, and I post that on LinkedIn. And it feels much more like a story. So that's on the personal branding side, really cool. But I think the word real is really important there. So when you meet someone in person, there are so many more things able to happen which can't happen on a video call or on a phone call or on a text. So when you're in person, barriers go down. And not only that, serendipity can happen. It's very hard to be serendipitous in an online environment. When you have 200 people in a room and everyone has come here with kind of the same MO, we're here to network, the amount of people telling me, wow, I met some people who, really happy I came. Like for them, that was a few hours of their time, but it literally might change their life. It happens so often. So the event and in person is so important because it makes all the online stuff so much easier. So when you're going to an event, you can network with people before the event, after the event. So a lot of people I talk to feel like a conference is the scary thing. And I think, if you allow me, I just want to explain the business model of a conference, because once you understand it, you can realize how you can actually attend a conference, or if you're wanting to put on an event in the future, to keep it in mind. So most conferences are media companies, and they will make money from media, but then they have distribution. So, okay, we have attention. Let's put on an event and charge tickets and sponsorships. Over time, prices go up, and then over time, the sponsors start asking for more and more stuff. And that's what happens when a event starts to become a bit less valuable, because the sponsor wants to have a speaking slot, wants to maybe take control of the format. And then it becomes more and more geared to the sponsor. This is not every event, but it typically happens. And over time, the event get more performative. There are now award ceremonies where only the sponsors are involved. There are now only the people are there. I use the nightclub analogy a lot. If you go into the nightclub and it's 90% men, if you're a woman, it might be a bit off-putting because it's just, being approached by everywhere. Yeah. Same thing at a conference. If there's 90% service providers, as we call them, and 10% buyers, so in my industry, it's the people making the games, the people who help people make the games. The balance is off. The people who make the games feel like, why am I here? And the people who are service providers are like, where are all the people I can help? Like, you need to have that balance. But the service providers are the people willing to pay to get in. And it's like, a lot of people have gone to an event where maybe didn't have the economics to make it so they can focus on the value. Because as soon as they focus on the ticket sale or the sponsor, over time, you follow the money. The priority is the sponsors and the ticket sales, which is fair enough. So when you don't have that, when you have an event where everyone's coming there to truly, I use the word economic opportunity. I think the LinkedIn team used that a lot recently. I really like it. It's like, how do we maximize economic opportunity? Get all the right people in the room. We have buyers, investors, all the different parts, and then magic will happen.
Most of the profits comes from the marketing services you provide. For less so someone fresh out of uni, but someone who's maybe been working hospitality, retail, maybe they're 5, 6, 7, 8 years into their career and they're looking for a shift. How would you recommend somebody to find a service? Because there's so many tools online now, YouTube courses, people can learn any skill to provide to people. But if someone was trapped by analysis paralysis, for example, there's so many options now. There's so many, I love the phrase, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. How would you help someone narrow in their focus?
Been doing this a few times lately, and I'll just explain how I approached it with one example. I feel like it's very important to find out what is your mission as a person. Because if your mission is to make money, this is too broad of a mission. There's loads of ways to make money. But if you really have something that you're passionate about, and I usually anchor on helping others, what type of thing do you want to help others? So for the life coach example, she wants to help families and kids. Like, okay, that give us guardrails. We now need to look at all the other people who are helping that audience. How? Are there any people who are doing one-person businesses that we like? Maybe we should inspire from them. I spoke to an engineer, and he said it on the call. He was very solution-oriented. Like, no, we need to focus on the problem. What problems exist? So to build a new service, you need to find a problem. A lot of people, especially in the jobs industry right now, in the games industry, have a solution, which is their skill set. There is no problem out there, but then they're trying to find that problem.
What's an example in the games industry?
Hairstylists for characters. If that's your skill and you're the best, and that was really in demand 2 years ago, but now there are no people who need people to animate hairs because they can be done in-house by someone who's doing other stuff. If you're trying to get a hair animator job, like you're focused on the solution, you need to upskill. Like there's no option because there's a competition. Same thing in services. So if we bring it back to an example where, to be fair, my cousin. So my cousin's been in customer service. He's been like a restaurant manager for the last 6 years. Really good at what he does. People love him. He's really good with people. But the opportunity vehicle is, well, you can be paid 2 to 3K a month max. He had no idea. Okay, how could I start a new job? It's like, well, you're really good at customer service. Okay, what problem do we solve? You're building trust with people. How do we find, what does building trust do? At least for me, sales. So if you're good at marketing and sales, at least for me, I'm very biased, then help people with marketing and sales. And the beautiful thing about that is by learning how to get your own clients, you're getting better at the service for your other clients. So I think there's nothing wrong with that. And there's going to be an endless demand of people helping people market. So if you are good with people, that's that. If you're like the engineer example, then you want to be focusing on the problem. So if I take it back to the retail, if they're in retail and they're really good at customer service, then I would look into sales. If they've never done sales before, sales is one of those positions where you can sell yourself into any job. You can literally, I give this advice to quite a few people who are looking for work. If you treat your job hunt like I would treat business development, and you have your top 100 companies you want to break into, you send them all a Loom video explaining why you've applied. A Loom video is just a video conferencing software. And you explain why you want the job. To 100, you're going to get 10, 20 pieces of feedback back. And if you treat it like it's just a true job, don't have to apply to any jobs. If you see one, amazing. You might get a sales job on commission, learn so much, and now you've joined business. And it's a meritocracy, at least in sales. So, and sales isn't a scary thing. Like I learned sales by hosting people on podcasts. We're living in a world where you just need to build an environment where people can feel safe and get value. And then after, you remind them, hey, by the way, do you need recruitment, for example? So I'm using my own story here because I feel like it's one where I've seen 10, 20 people, at least in the recruitment company I used to work for, they joined straight from uni, geography course. Then they somehow learn recruitment. It's like there's loads of these positions where you can just learn, not to sell, but learn to help other people know about a service, which is a universal skill. So I feel like if you wanted to start a business, you need to learn the skill of marketing and sales. So I would look to do that.
Okay, so back to just the hospitality kind of example, right? Because I know even my brother, to be honest, he's worked in hospitality his whole life. He's 38 now. And I think he's looking to get out of it, but it's how do you take those steps? So I think there's a lot of value in your personal story from what you told there. But we're almost at a precipice of society, to be dramatic, where a lot of people are frustrated in their jobs. They don't see any hope. They don't see any future. Like, there's a lot of cynicism out there, which we'll get into. The thing, let's say someone decides they have a mission, but there's also that urgency to get out of the situation they're in. People in a perfect world, they could immediately kick things off by finding both, right? What they want to do and something that applies to the mission. What do you think should come first? People should get out of that situation, put themselves in a better financial or time situation, and then they can work towards the mission, or stay focused on the mission first and don't make any moves till you find the right thing that can help you go that way.
There's this analogy I will use. So let's say your mission is a racetrack and the finish line is you completing that mission. So let's say you want to help 1 million families live better lives because their kids and the parents have good relationships. Use the life coach example. If you went at your current pace, you may never reach that mission because you do not have walking shoes. You can't afford walking shoes. What should you do next? Should you just brute force and go and run with no shoes and get blisters? Or should you pause, stop making progress, make money, buy the walking shoes, and then run? I think the mission, if you need time to work on yourself, is to upskill and stay in the job, become so good where you can afford to become remote because you become irreplaceable. That might take 6 months, a year, 2 years. For me, it took 2 years to become irreplaceable. We're able to negotiate a 6-month contract remote from Cyprus, which was never done before in the company. Because I was like, this is what I will do. I will continue doing what I do, but I've built the track record in the office. But that allowed me to build relationships and learn how to work on myself. So if you're in retail, it'll be tough. But if you have anything that is in an office where it could be remote, then you might need to either build a case internally to work remote, like I did, or job hunt. And I mean truly job hunt. Apply constantly and build more conversations because you need to buy back more resources to get a better car so you can go to the mission faster. So if you feel in your current job, night shifts, for example, it's super hard to work on yourself and build a business if you're doing night shifts. It's just you don't have energy. So you need to escape night shifts. Well, you might say, Harry, I'm a bouncer. I'm like, okay, well, like if you truly want to escape that, unless you're going to make a bouncer company, you're stuck. Like for me, that's now a dead end. You've hit the limit of that opportunity. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you need to really, really zoom out and do not drift in a life you hate. It's very important. People drift into the life that they have. And if you continue drifting, you might not meet your goals. You might not make enough resources to feel comfortable to have a family. Like, this is really important stuff. And I see these people, and it's honestly because they have drifted. They have just accepted that every year there'll be a performance review and their income might go up by 3%. So,
do you think it is just a case of them accepting it though, or do you think there's a busyness, there's a mental bandwidth, or people don't get, it's not that you get sold a dream of being a bouncer, right? It's just, it's what you do. Mm-hmm. And obviously societally, people used to be in jobs for the same job for 30, 40 years, and that was enough for a comfortable life. But that doesn't give the same level of freedom or possibilities. Not so much that the career had possibilities, but possibilities for you to do things on the side that you were more passionate about. Do you think that's gone now? And so drifting is really dangerous now, not just from a life fulfillment point, but from your future security.
So when we say drifting, I mean drifting into a career where you are not upskilling yourself. Why would I hire the person who hasn't upskilled himself for the last 10 years versus the person who has upskilled themselves? Upskill, what am I talking about? Can you manage people to do what you do? No. Okay. Then you will never add the same amount of value to that company versus the individual contributor, unless you're in a company, you're in an environment where you could do 10x or 100x because it's media based, or because you're an artist and you can sell like 100x the value. But that's the way of the craftsman. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, if that's not the case, if you're listening to me, like, I'm kind of stuck, I'm not learning anything new. You really need to be learning before you're earning. And it might mean, for example, like my example in the last couple of years, I could be making a lot more money if I stopped doing done-for-you services and just did consulting, because I wouldn't have payroll. But I wouldn't be learning the skill of building a business. And I would be forever stuck as a one-person business. Again, nothing wrong with that. But that's not what I want. I want to build the skill of managing, and that will mean payroll, that will mean costs, hiring, firing. But that is a thing I have to do before I earn more. I can add more value to people. If you look at your life this way and you realize I can't learn, then you have two options. You have to find another opportunity where you can work less hours for a bit more resources and then use the remaining time to build a skill to get to another business, whether it's marketing, sales, what have you. Or you need to become so good at what you do that you do your own version of it. I feel like those are the two paths here. So when I say drifting, I mean, are you consciously thinking, am I learning and upskilling here? Because if you're not, I see this a lot on LinkedIn. I've started commenting more, like, if you're not getting a promotion, do as little work as possible. And that's your promotion. It's like, yeah, okay. But now you have stopped learning. You've stopped improving your craft. And if you if that company went bust, what story are you going to tell the next company? I wasn't treated well and I did as little as possible. That's not a good story. I will not hire you over the person who was really trying, despite circumstances. I feel like really people need to really understand the story that their career is going to sound like to another person who's going to buy from them. Because it's either going to be another job or a client. People want to hear your story. That's all you have, really, when it's skill-based.
Upskilling, learning, I've told you before, and it's something I massively respect about you, is you have a hunger for learning, thirst for knowledge, speeding up the process, like learning from others' mistakes so you don't make them. I would say it is one of your like top 3-5 values for sure, because you do it more than anyone else I know. And you mentioned when you were coming to the end of your last career, by choice, you spent £900 on Lara's course.
I laughed at as well in my company. My colleague said, "Why would you spend £900? Because that was half our salary, half my salary, after tax. Excuse me. It's half my take-home salary. It's like on learning how to post on LinkedIn. It's like, why would you do that? And now I can be like, oh, look at this. I can now run payroll. I have all these good things. But at the time, if you have this mindset, it's like, why would you learn to do something where you don't have to do? It's like, okay, but now I can do something that my peers can't do. And that has given me an opportunity.
How many people's advice do you think you've paid for in the last 2.5 years? So the first thing, Lara, that was, like you said, it was your own half the salary. Everything now has come out the profits. How many people do you think you've learned from?
Probably 28 people.
28.
I've given money to either get their time, their course, their cohort. 28 people. So that's probably, that's more than one a month. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And there's two ways it happens. This is either I just see them on LinkedIn. It's like, you have a skill I don't have. Let me buy your time or buy whatever you have. Second one is from just friends of these people. I meet them and I'm like, a skill I don't have. Can I pay you?
How much impact do you think that's had on you personally and on the business? And if you could give a number, would you say you think it 4x, 5x the business in a period of shorter years versus what would maybe take 5, 10? Is there something tangible there?
I didn't have, other than the two people I was learning from, anything else. And I was very lucky that I realized I was going under employer branding. I had no skill there. And I pivoted into helping service providers do what I did before. It's like, this makes so much more sense. If I didn't have that community where that could become obvious, because everyone's like, oh yeah, just, pivot the offer. I might have just been going down the employer branding route, trying to beat my head against the wall. And I literally I might quit. Like it might be a 0 to 1. Like it might be an infinite X here, because if you can't learn from other people, you only learn from your own mistakes. I learned this lesson when I was a professional gambler on a Facebook group that we were on. It's like 400-500 people in there. And I made a Discord group called Hivemind, and I invited all the top people making money. And I just gave all my things that were working for me. And around 10 to 20 people probably gave stuff back. So that's a 20x, right? I give one lesson to 50 people, and around 20 people give a lesson back. I learned 20 times faster. That took me from 2K to 10K a month profit as a gambler. That was a 5x. Now in my business, it's taken me honestly from like 0 to like the 30K a month we're doing now recurring, plus all the events and stuff. Like the amount of, I don't think it's a negotiable. Like I don't want people to think Oh, 10x? Okay, that sounds good. It's like, no, you have to always learn. If you can't afford to learn, there's other ways to learn by becoming so important or useful or promoting someone else's stuff that they just give you lessons for free. That's happened to me many times. I support people, I introduce them to people, and then I might go on a podcast with them, or I might introduce them to my podcast. That's a big superpower. I get an education every week because I have a podcast like this with the top people in my industry. And at the end, I'm like, who would benefit from a conversation with me? They recommend me. And in my podcast, people will notice in the last few episodes, I say, let's role play. Let's say you're advising me and I get free advice. Like there's ways to learn. Like you should always be learning. So to answer your question, yeah, 1,000,000x, I guess, because it takes me from 0 to 1. Like I would have maybe quit.
So there's so much resources out there now, whether it is paid communities, and I'm going to throw in something you told me last week, just so we don't forget it, because I thought it was valuable and I've taken it on board. So many of these communities now, people are there and they either pay and they don't take advantage of it. They pay maybe just because they want access to the network of peers. They pay maybe because it gives them access to the course materials or the key learning. But what they forget about is the access it gives you to that person who set up the community.
Yeah.
And because you've said you've joined a bunch of communities and it's basically, there could be 20, 30 other people, but you basically just have one-to-one because no one else turns up to the calls. No one else is in asking questions.
It's a joke because people make it jokes like, oh, Harry's here. Fine. I just wonder why it was quiet. So yeah, if there's 30 people on the call and everyone's acting like I'm asking 5 questions, but I think it just looks like that because every call I come and I ask my 1 or 2 questions and then people stop talking. No more questions. There's 20 minutes left. I'll ask a question. So I get 20 to 30 minutes of not only the owner of this cohort, who's typically a lot more successful than me, but also the Hivemind. I have 20 other people in there who are going to give a perspective on my stuff. So many things that I would have spent 6 months going down, and someone said, oh, how do you feel about this? I'm like, no, amazing. So yeah, for sure. Like if you look at someone's one-to-one pricing, I know this might seem like a weird thing that we're talking about here, but like in our bubble, like you can get one-to-one help from someone, which is typically like 5 times the price of a group model. The group model could give you the benefits of one-to-one. Definitely happened for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, like some of these group models are less than $100 a month. Everyone can put away $100 a month if they really, really tried. Okay, I say that, not everyone, but like you can, if you really wanted to, find $100, join a community for a month and get effectively one-to-one help from someone who might have done the business that you want to do. And if you just 2x what their inputs was when they started where you are, that's my approach. That's my approach. So you just ask them, what would you do in my situation? If you do exactly what they tell you, you will get their results.
Yeah.
If you don't like the results later, cool. But like that will at least get you started.
The great thing about communities is obviously the people, the network of peers, and a whole bunch of relevant knowledge is packaged in one area. Whereas if you go on YouTube, there's lots of like different resources and it could be mixed messages. There's a lot of survivor bias. One thing that worked for one guy, they'll say is the way, and other things. For someone who was stuck, let's say we're on to the next level of people who have, like, they've been learning, they've been doing and doing. It's going to be simple. You're going to say just act. But for people who are stuck in that learning phase with 20 tabs open, how can they get out of that and just start taking action?
When I started, you need confidence. I couldn't increase my prices because I didn't believe I had the value. I realized it's because I need to prove to myself that I had value. I felt more confident on sales calls and we 4x the prices for the same service, but I know it's better because we've improved the strategy. Take that to the 0 to 1 example. The reason you're not trying to book a call with someone to offer them help is because I think fundamentally you do not believe in your own value. We need to solve that problem, which is different than solving the problem of getting clients. Because if you don't believe it yourself, you will subconsciously not work on that because you feel like you are hurting other people's day by saying, hey, could you hop on a call? Because you think you're taking something from them. This happens more than people realize. So if you feel like this is resonating, there's a simple solution. Remove the stakes. So what I did, very real example, these are testimonials at the bottom of my LinkedIn page, which you can see. My first 2 testimonials, I wanted to help 2 people who clearly needed my help. They had free time. They were employees at 2 big companies, King and BBC. And I was like, hey, I'm building a new offer. I love what you do. Can I coach you for a month together? Just give me feedback and a testimonial if it's useful. They said, of course. And I built it. I treat them like paid clients. At the end, they gave me an amazing testimonial. The week after those testimonials, I booked a call with a referral from a podcast guest. And I did not pitch them my service. I pitched them, this is what happened to these people. This is what I can do for you on a done for you basis. The way I delivered that, I was confident. Like, they got results. They were happy. They went from 0 to 2, let's say, from what I did. Looking back at what I told them, I would have told them different stuff now, but it wasn't bad advice. It was just good advice from what I knew at the time. But now I had confidence, right? And what did we just say? Offer 2 people to spend some time with them and give them a result. It will not only give you confidence, but then you have proof. So if you're in the learning phase, the only reason you're in the learning phase and not in the helping phase, because you don't believe in what service you have, maybe other people don't either. So how do you solve that? Help people. I'm not saying work for free for 6 months or an internship. Maybe you would want to do that, but you don't have to. Like, you can help people on a small basis, 1 week, 2 weeks, get that proof and testimonial, and then no one has to know they didn't pay you. These are my clients. They paid me in feedback and testimonial is your internal monologue. For outwards, you don't have to mention they haven't paid you full time. Do that 10 times, you now have a wall of love. 10 testimonials is pretty much as anyone's going to see. So you look like you are swarming with work and proof. And this is proof. Like, you've helped people. So I think people need to understand, if you've got the proof that you've helped people, people will believe in you. And that energy transfers on a video call or in person when you sell. So anyone in that learning phase, they are solving the wrong problem. They're trying to get better. You will get a lot better faster if you help people and get their feedback. Because the way you are packaging this, most of the time we don't consume our own work. Like, I package my trainings for myself. When I give it to my team, they're like, can we focus 80% of the time on this instead? And I was like, oh, wow. So you might be building something that no one wants. You are solution oriented, not problem solving. So you want to get someone on a call, they tell you their problems, and you build them a solution. And to keep it really, really simple, this could be consulting, coaching, done for you. Just do something. And then you'll get proof, and that will get you out of the learning phase. And you're going to iterate. You're not set in stone. You're like, I will never want to do this full time. It's okay. Like, you're helping people solve a problem. Once you prove that, then you can change the model over time.
Your mission's evolved quite a bit. And I'm a big fan of when we spoke about this. When we first met, your mission was make money, make babies.
Yep.
That was planned because the Phokou family, great legacy, great heritage going back. Like, you guys are so close. It's
Appreciate it.
amazing. When me and Harry first met, part of the shoot day we did was a sit down between you and your grandpa to get his story. And that's something for the whole family to enjoy and for generations to be like, where did my grandpa, great-grandpa, great-great-grandpa come from? So family's always been a key value for you. And it was never a selfish mission, but it was very much like just about for the family.
I think it is a selfish mission. Reason I'm saying it's selfish is when I wanted to grow up, what I want to do when I grow up, when someone asked me that question, the thing that I felt was the coolest thing, because I looked at my role models, was be a great grandfather. If I could have kids with kids who are all healthy, I've made it. So it's always been the MO, which is a very selfish thing. Like, I will be happy.
Okay.
Yeah, so like, let's put it this way. I'm a nice guy, but I this is all because I want it. I'm not doing it because this is what I should do. Like, that was the kind of original mission, right? Make money, make baby, because that's what I want out of life. And I think that will give me glorious purpose. And at the end of my life, I will never get bored because I can always help improve my kids' lives. And that is something I can do till I'm dead. So that's why I chose that, or that's why it really resonated with me when someone used to ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? A great grandfather. It's like, just awesome. You can never stop winning at that. But now it's evolved, like you said.
And it's evolved to help families.
So
because you want to grow the business to help other people build a future.
Yeah, so we're a team of 8 people and I'm hiring. And when I was going into the hiring, I was like, should I have company values? So I started writing the week before what we just said, like my personal values. So I wrote, I want to make a bunch of money so my kids can have a healthy life. And then I was like, okay, I want to build a company where my team members don't have to work 24/7, can make enough money and be emotionally and financially secure so they can build families sooner rather than later if they want to. Because a lot of people are delaying having families because of economy. I'm like, if I can prevent that, that's sick. I can give more people that experience. Then I thought, okay, what if I can give more people that feeling through content, stuff like this. This doesn't cost anyone for someone to watch this on YouTube. My LinkedIn content doesn't cost anything for someone to watch. It might not give them an end-to-end guide, but I've had many people message me where they've been inspired by what I do. Someone came to my event yesterday and he said he was nervous to come approach me because he thought that it's rude because he's like inspired by me and doing what I do in the States. He thought he was taking something from me by taking my business model. But I'm like, that's the best thing ever. Like, you are now finding your own path. And also, I'm so sorry to say this to anyone, but like, there's so much work that needs to be done. Like, I really don't agree with the scarcity mindset. There's so much people that need help, service. Like, I don't mean this in a people need help. Like there's so much opportunity out there. Like, I don't believe in competition. I believe in co-competition. Like, I will speak to other ghostwriting agencies, share them everything. Hopefully they share 10% back. That's good. So to come back, that's been the mission, to help other people do that. And okay, can I just make those my company values? And I realized I could. So my mission now is to help as many people as possible have financially and emotionally secure lives so they can then have emotionally and financially secure families.
The growth of Phokou Agency, now the branches of Hivemind, there's something coming the end of January, isn't there?
Yeah, so Hivemind is the brand. Hivemind World is what we do with our in real life events. Phokou Digital, by the time this comes out, maybe in a few weeks, will become Hivemind Marketing. And then I'll be starting Hivemind Academy. So I've already done, since we started, one-to-one coaching. And I've been a guest coach in some communities. This is one of my most fulfilling things, because I feel like if I can take someone from taking no action to taking action, I've seen it. They literally change their whole lives. They then run payroll. It's like, this is the best feeling of all time. So if I can give that to more people, amazing. So this is basically taking my one-to-one consulting and make it a group. So that's what the Hivemind Academy is going to be. I'm going to be very transparent on this. If you're watching this, I'll give you the play-by-play because it hasn't happened yet. I will do an online summit where I'll give as much value as possible. And then if it makes sense for the people on the call, this will be geared to people in games and tech because that's my kind of specialty. And it'll be helping them grow their games business. We'll have 6 total speakers. It'll be like an accelerator and then a community with accountability to help them get all the lessons that I've learned in a much more affordable way. So yeah, I'm really excited to start that because a lot of people have had over 140 sales calls in the last 12 months. We work with, I think it's around 15% of them. And a lot of the other people said, I want to work with you, but like, we can't afford it right now. We want to hire someone instead. Like, this is, for me, it fills in a gap in the model where people can train their marketing team, or they could be a solo founder who wants to learn the skill of marketing. I can give them a much more affordable way to do that rather than spending one-to-one time with me, because I do not have enough one-to-one time to help everyone who wanted it. So yeah, of course, I'm going to make some money doing it. But like, for me, I'm very excited because I know the impact it's going to make, because I know the impact it's made for me. So I'm really excited to start Hivemind Academy.
And it's a quiet and introverted industry, like you said. So if people sign up and only 1 or 2 people speak, they can get that cheeky one-to-one access with you.
I'm going to say that on the first call. 10% of you will take the most advantage of this, ask questions. There will be the 90% who will show up, they will get value, but they will make 5x more value if they just ask 1 or 2 questions. And I'm hoping that will encourage people to ask more questions. But yes, 80-20 rule, 80% of the room will ask a lot less questions than the 20%. So yeah, if you resonate with what we're saying, you could potentially join the academy if it makes sense, and you would get, of course, some one-to-one time.
Harry, thank you so much for coming on the pod.
Thank you. This is great.
Yeah. Cheers.